Dear viewers, welcome to another edition of Cryptoverse News. The week behind us was at any rate turbulent. The escalation of geopolitical instability, primarily in the Middle East, has also affected the financial markets, including the cryptocurrency market. After the excellent closing of September on Monday, the best in history for Bitcoin, the king of cryptocurrencies, fell the day after by $4,000 from roughly $64,000, starting traditionally good October in the red. And today, among other things, we bring you crypto market is in the throes of uncertainty due to the flare-up of the Israeli-Iranian conflict. What awaits us in the traditionally positive October? Will Uptober turn into Rektober? Despite a bad opening, will Bitcoin still hit a new all-time high in October? CoinMarketCap analysts estimate that this cycle has accelerated by 100 days, the peak of the bull in May or June of 2025. HBO is releasing a documentary next week that should expose the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto. And at the beginning of the week, everything looked idyllic. The closure of an otherwise generally bad September for Bitcoin, with a record plus of more than 7%, brought enormous optimism to the crypto space. Although a good number of analysts were calling for a strong correction before the rally resumes, BTC has shown no signs that it plans to stop. But then Iran turned on Israel. As many as 200 ballistic missiles that Iran launched at Israel in retaliation for Israeli strikes on Hezbollah positions in Lebanon, during which Iran's Fatah hypersonic missiles were allegedly used for the first time, and which, again, allegedly, were not announced, caused a sudden collapse of the crypto market on the first day of the new month, wiping out a total of $200 billion in market capitalization this week. On Friday, however, Bitcoin dipped below $60,000, but briefly, so it seems that this psychologically important level continues to function as support. With today's slight rise above 61K, BTC seems to be showing signs of recovery, but the broader trend is still unclear as tensions in the Middle East shift investors' focus to commodities like oil and gold, negatively impacting sentiment towards risk assets, including cryptocurrencies. Along with the situation in the Middle East, which could escalate even more, the situation in Russia is also uncertain, and tensions over Taiwan could also increase. Therefore, the crypto sector is likely to continue to be quite volatile. It should also be borne in mind that in the event of a black swan event, traditional markets fall by single-digit percentage rates, but crypto generally fares much worse. So, the possibility of Bitcoin falling towards the low levels of $50,000 and maybe even lower is by no means excluded. Interestingly, although considered a historically great month, investors on decentralized betting platform Polymarket do not at all take into account that in October, BTC could jump over $70,000 and approach its all-time high of around 73,700. And the Fear and Greed Index, which with 41 points is moving in the fear zone, speaks about the mood on the market. Well-known pseudonymous crypto trader and analyst Rektober, on the other hand, says that $60,000 is not unfamiliar to Bitcoin as a fundamental psychological level, and a return to its testing is not a reason for fear. BTC has reached the $60,000 level countless times in the past few months, but after the pullback, people get scared again, and each time for a different reason. Same price, different narrative. But the bullish structure was never lost, writes Rekt. Also, on the other, positive side, retail investors did not start to panic and sell off en masse, although the $60,000 level was briefly broken, which could mean that the faith in Uptober still lasts. After all, we've only just entered October, and historical data show that most gains occur in the latter part of the month, while the first week is generally bearish. So before us is the much-mentioned Uptober, in which Bitcoin could reach new all-time highs, or the tradition that says that since 2013, only 2 Octobers for Bitcoin ended in the negative will end. Uptober or Rektober is the question that dominated the crypto space this week. At the time of the recording of this video, Bitcoin is trading 6% below the local high of roughly $66.5 thousand, reached on September 27th. But despite a poor start to the month, most analysts are convinced that this correction could just be a reset of key metrics, while BTC is gearing up for huge gains in the last quarter of 2024, although there could be a certain period of cooling and consolidation. QCP Capital believes that Bitcoin will enjoy a typical Uptober in terms of price performance, with a return to growth by the end of the month. Furthermore, prominent ex-Bitcoin platform BTC Archive shared data that showed the leading cryptocurrency could rise to as high as $80,000 after the green September. Let us note that after the September green chart candle, crypto achieved an average growth of 25.81% in October. Based on this, BTC could reach $80,500 if it replicates such a gain. As for the average growth of Bitcoin, if you look at all the years since 2013, it is 23%. A similar price rally would send BTC above $78,000, well above the current record high. The founder of 10x Research, Marcus Thielen, also predicted that BTC will soon return to $70,000 and reach a new all-time high by the end of October. This analyst cited stablecoins' growing liquidity and China's easing monetary policy as factors that could push the price above $73,700. At the same time, K33 research analysts point out four winds blowing at the back of Bitcoin and the rest of cryptocurrencies. This includes China's aggressive stimulus measures, totaling more than $140 billion through interest rate cuts and fiscal stimulus aimed at preventing recession and boosting growth, moves that typically encourage a more favorable environment for speculative risk assets like cryptocurrencies. Then there are American macroeconomic data, which should, according to expectations, strengthen the decision of the Federal Reserve to continue cutting interest rates, but also the upcoming presidential elections in the USA, regardless of the winner. Because, as they say in K33, markets do not like uncertainty, which will disappear after the announcement of the new president. Ultimately, the expected payouts from the FTX bankruptcy are expected to result in creditors reinvesting in crypto, that is injecting approximately $2.5 billion into the crypto market by the end of the fourth quarter of this year or in the first quarter of next year. Some other analysts mentioned significantly higher sums, as figures of $5 to $8 billion are used, while creditors are expected to receive between $14.5 and $16.3 billion in return. And in the context of a positive October, especially the entire last quarter, we should once again turn to historical figures. So, since 2013, Bitcoin has not recorded a positive in October only twice. Also, in the halving years, which is the year 2024, Bitcoin has been recording great results throughout the last quarter, as you can see in the chart. But all this is mostly playing with some historical data. History does favor the price outlook for Bitcoin and the crypto market in general for the fourth quarter, but the critical component will be growth in demand. And here, of course, the main role is played by Bitcoin spot ETFs, which recorded 3 consecutive days of negative flows, which brought the 3-day cumulative outflows to over $388 million. This is obviously not good news, but there could be a reversal as early as next week after the market digests the events in the Middle East, but if there is no new escalation. And when can we actually expect the peak of the market? When to sell if you're not really a hodler? According to a report by CoinMarketCap, the bull market is accelerating and is 100 days ahead of a typical 4-year cycle. Let us note that the 4-year cycle of Bitcoin is an important concept that reflects the market dynamics of cryptocurrencies. The cycle is closely related to Bitcoin halving events, which reduce rewards to BTC miners approximately once every 4 years, or when 210,000 new BTC blocks are mined. Bitcoin halvings usually have a significant impact on the price of BTC, with bull markets historically peaking 518 to 546 days after the halving event. Considering that this cycle is accelerated due to the earlier achievement of Bitcoin's all-time high, CoinMarketCap indicates a potential peak between the middle of May and the middle of June of 2025. They also point out that BTC is potentially on the way to break its traditional 4-year cycle and enter a super cycle, driven by institutional adoption, ETFs, and changing market dynamics. Also, among the factors that suggest that BTC may break its traditional 4-year cycle, CMC mentioned Bitcoin's growing correlation with traditional assets, such as gold and technology stocks. After all, even Forbes thinks Bitcoin is becoming part of the mainstream, according to an article published this week. The YouTube channel Barely Sociable has covered the identity of the mysterious creator of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto. Moreover, next week, HBO's documentary Money Electric, The Bitcoin Mystery arrives. Cullen Hoback's long-awaited documentary should give its contribution to exposing the person behind BTC. According to sources, the documentary is said to contain some new evidence, but there are no details on what exactly is in question. Who is Satoshi Nakamoto? The pseudonym used by the person or group that initiated the creation of Bitcoin is probably still the biggest mystery of all crypto. CC Data's latest monthly overview of exchanges shows that Binance captured 36.6% of total spot and crypto derivatives market volume, which is a 20% decline from the previous month, and also the exchange's worst performance since 2020. Spot volume alone fell 22.9% to $344 billion, while derivatives trading volume on Binance fell 21% to $1.25 trillion. Binance seems to have lost the most to competitors like Crypto.com, which saw a 40% increase in trading volume between August and September. Crypto.com increased its market share the most in 2024, so it now accounts for 10.5% of the crypto market and is the fourth largest exchange by trading volume.